Hey, Linda,
Yeah.
if you want to email me the recording link, I'll upload it to YouTube.
Oh, okay.
All
Sure.
right.
Yep. If we should publicize that YouTube channel on both of the Facebook pages that that you're posting to.
Okay.
Are you using that CB Haynes Gmail by any chance as the YouTube?
No, I am not. So
Okay.
maybe I should get with Paula on that and we should start putting them there instead.
Yeah,
Okay.
I just reset the password, so I will send you guys emails with the password to the Coldwell Banker account.
Okay.
And
Cool.
yeah, Nick, if you can either go in there and upload them, or you can send them to me and I will upload either way.
Perfect. Sounds good.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Well,
I'm gonna actually go look
I
at
am gonna get started, I guess. Hang on 1 second. I was gonna give them another couple of minutes.
I have need ranch or a story and a half with master on the main floor, an acre or two, or maybe a little more, not in a subdivision is what they're looking for. Our fifth offer just did not make it through for this couple. We were $16,750 over listing price and were denied.
Oh,
So
great.
yeah, they're getting pretty frustrated. I have their house sold, so I need to find them a property or I lose the whole thing.
Oh my gosh. This market is ridiculous.
I am exhausted from it.
I know. All right, let's see. Do you guys see my screen?
Yes,
Do you see the welcome slide there?
yes.
Okay, so for some reason it's not allowing me to put it in presenter view. Mick, do you see just the slide or do you see everything?
I see just a.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
So I've been starting to track closings, all closings on a daily basis. So I'm finding out that this over asking price market is not what it looks like it is. What's happening is a lot of properties are getting offers accepted over asking and they're not closing there. I mean, some are, but it's not like, and I'm starting to tell my sellers this. I say, have you heard about all the multiple offers, over asking offers? Oh yeah. I says, well, there's some truth to it. But the truth of the matter is the house has got to appraise and it's got to pass inspection. So people are going in and making these crazy offers knowing that when they have their inspection done, they're going to start renegotiating the price. And when the appraisal's done, if it doesn't appraise, they might end up closing under asking price. So if you notice, if you do a hot sheet every day, or just look at the solds, let's just say there's 12 closings today in our MLS, probably 2 will be over asking out of 12. Most of them are under asking still that close at. And I start looking at properties I was writing offers on. They either come back on the market, okay, or they close less than the offer that we wrote. Because it's one thing getting your offer accepted, it's another thing getting it closed. So, I thought I would just throw that out there that again, really, when you're just working with your sellers, these sellers are starting to get this thing in their head that, hey, if I put my house on the market, it's going to sell for way more than possibly more. They're putting pressure on us now to get over asking price offers. And what's wrong if we don't? You know, so that comes into play also. So
Right.
part of my listing presentation now is overpriced offers and multiple offers. And it's based a lot of, okay, for example, the property on Cough Road, I wrote an offer for $30,100 over asking price on Saturday. And I don't think I don't think my offer is going to get accepted. Okay. But who knows what that's actually going to close at? You know, it might close for 10,000 over asking price. You know, so some agents tell their buyers, and you got to watch this on your listings too. They'll write this ridiculous offer, knowing that they have no intent on paying it. They're going to start negotiating, and when they get control of the offer, they're going to start negotiating. Do you see that at all in Toledo, Mick?
Yeah, 100%.
You know, so
Okay, so actually we can continue if we want to, that conversation near the end. I just wanted to take an opportunity now to share with everyone a little bit about that email that I sent out. Gosh, when was it now? Yesterday, I suppose. And then the post this morning of our new training program that we are launching. Mick and I actually have been working on this together. And today is the first of the sessions that we are going to be kicking off the new program with. It's going to be an annual training calendar that we're going to be hosting. And it's going to be broken down into quarters. And each quarter is going to have an overall theme. And then based on that theme, we're going to have 4 Tuesdays per month. In varied format, as you can see in front of you in the screen. But each of those Tuesdays is going to be a different format focused around whatever the quarterly theme is. So this quarter is the last quarter of the year, if you can believe that already. And as always, we like to focus on business planning for the upcoming year. And so this September, October, November, and then in December, we usually do our annual company business planning meeting. We're going to be focusing around business planning. So this morning, when we jump in, will be the first of the structured mastermind sessions. And a structured mastermind is basically half of it is going to be about the training portion, and the remaining half will be questions and or just open discussion. And then the following Tuesday is going to be a group coaching session. There's going to be one in the morning, one in the afternoon. And this can be an opportunity for all of the agents to jump in and ask questions, get coached on what's working for them, what are their challenges, any obstacles and barriers standing in their way of the success that they're looking to create. And it's also an opportunity for all of us to hold each other accountable. Does that mean I'm going to ask you to put all your numbers up in front of everyone? Not necessarily, no, only if you want to. But it is going to give us an opportunity to say, hey, I'd like to contact 5 people this week so that I can meet my goal. And we'll just ask you how it went. You know, how did it go? What do you think maybe any of us can do to help out? And what you'd like to do in the future in order to make it happen for next time. And then the third Tuesday of the month would be typically the office meeting, which in Monroe is held about 9 o'clock in the morning. And Mick, I think your office meetings might be a little bit different in terms of timing.
Yeah, we're usually at noon or sometime around the lunch period.
Okay. And I will be sending out invitations to all these Zoom meetings the morning of the meeting. And then the fourth Tuesday of the month is going to be a product demonstration. As you guys all know, we have moved, or we are moving from CB Exchange into CB Desk. So much of it is similar, although they have added tons of content, tons of trainings, and they've organized it a little bit different. Plus, we're going to be adding a bunch of new applications for all of us to use with our listings and otherwise. So I think it's largely going to be Mick who's going to be demonstrating the new apps and the new tools. But what's great about it, once a month, you will have an opportunity to get a demonstration and a training and ask questions about all the fantastic new products that Coldwell Banker is rolling out. So that's an overview of the training. Please tell your friends. We'd love to have them here. It's Tune In Tuesdays. So typically most of the meetings are going to be held at 9 a.m. on Tuesdays. We wanted to make it easy so everybody can sort of stick with the program. Does anybody have any questions up to this point about the format? No? Okay, fabulous. So this morning we are going to be kicking off business planning for 2021. Thank goodness we're saying goodbye to 2020. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I'm happy to say goodbye and start planning for 2021. And so we are really getting a jump start this year on this. This has been the first time that we have actually been early in discussing all of this with you guys. Last year, we did do some business planning trainings, which were fabulous. And those were done obviously in person. This year, they're not going to be able to get done in person. However, we have a variety of different methods that we're going to be offering you. So this month, we are going to be focused on introducing business planning, and we're also going to be talking about what are the numbers that you need to start collecting in order to put a business plan together. And if you start now, by the end of the year, you will have all of your numbers solidified. And in addition to our October and November sessions, we're going to have some goals set. You're going to know what your double play numbers are and what that even means. And then we're also going to be talking in November about the different kinds of prospecting activities that you can engage yourself in order to meet your goals. Anybody have questions about that? No? Okay, we're going to move along because I don't want to take up too much time here for all of you. So what is a business plan? Why is it important to have one, and where do we start? So we all know that the key to longevity in real estate is never one single deal. We know that it's a disciplined, rational, and systematic approach that includes prospecting, passion, as Al always says, you know, the 5 Ps. And that includes a lot of prospecting, actually, which we are going to talk about. But having a plan, right? We have to have that plan. And that's what we're going to start looking at building today. And that plan should manage how you're going to manage your relationships, right, with your clients, how you're going to nurture and engage your leads. And we're going to put it into a nice, neat, and tidy little document. So I'm assuming that everybody that is present today definitely wants to see some success in 2021. And I'm going to work off of that assumption, and we're just going to keep moving forward. So last year we talked a little bit about this. The whole idea of failing to plan is planning to fail. So without having that business plan in motion, we are not going to be able to stabilize our business. Actually, we're not even going to be able to create our business, let alone create income. And I think that's probably something that we all want to do. So Coldwell Banker, in rolling out their business planning, has asked top agents across the nation why they felt the need to have a business plan. And all of the research and all of the responses came down to one thing, and that is in order to have a predictable income. I think that's probably important for most of us, especially those that are full-time and they are contributing in a big way to the income of the household. It's really important for us to have some kind of predictable income. And one of the most important things that we can do to build and grow your business and of course your income is to have a business plan that's going to help you set your future goals and identify those strategies. Okay. So as we talked about also once last year, without a business plan, typically we find ourselves up against the three biggest challenges, and those are market seasonality. We all know what that is. Economic cycles, and we're kind of in the middle of one, I would say right now, because of what's happened with the pandemic and unemployment rising, etc. And then of course, inconsistent lead generation. Of the three, does anybody have a wild guess of which are the most challenging items for any realtor? Anybody have any ideas of the three?
Inconsistent lead generation.
Yes, totally, right? That's the one thing we have control over, right? And so we really need to look at what we have control over versus those items that we do not have control over. So that's why we're going to be talking about prospecting in November, okay? All right, so most of you have some kind of goals, whether they're financial or otherwise, but certainly real estate related. I'm sure we all have some financial goals. And yet startling statistics that they share on Coldwell Banker says that 87% of agents fail out of real estate in their first 5 years. And that's largely because they don't have any kind of strategy or any kind of a plan. All right, let's move along. Okay, so I want to talk just a little bit, and I'm not going to spend too much time on it. I know we want to get to the point, and then we want to have some open discussion. But we really want to differentiate between what it means to be an entrepreneur and what it means to be a salesperson. Bill, Kip, can you share something that's maybe on your mind in terms of what the difference is between an entrepreneur and a salesperson?
I think an entrepreneur has a bigger picture or longer range goal in mind. A salesperson is just that, where an entrepreneur is there to build something bigger than just the sale. You're going to build your brand, your ongoing business. I think entrepreneur is a much broader vision than a salesperson.
Okay, yeah, awesome, for sure. And I like that you use vision, because mission, vision, value proposition, all of that go into being an entrepreneur. Although we don't have time to talk about all of that today, but certainly all of that applies. Janelle, do you have any ideas as to what differentiates an entrepreneur from a salesperson?
I think a salesperson's like selling something, or we're more creating a business.
Right.
You know, we're not taking products around. Like I don't view myself as a salesperson at all.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't either.
No,
actually.
I don't.
Right from the get-go, I've always thought of myself more as a business person.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's because there's so many balls to juggle in real estate, you know, and I think most of us have been aware somewhere along the way that if we are not juggling all of those balls, not just the sales aspect, but marketing, advertising, networking, lead generation, if we're not juggling all of those balls equally, we're going to fail, right? And I think that's probably the most important piece in terms of the business plan, is having all of those balls in the air at one time and keeping them all alive, at least at different points. I think the other thing that differentiates a salesperson from an entrepreneur is having some kind of a budget, right? Knowing what your income is on an annual basis and where it's coming from specifically, whether it's working with buyers, working with sellers, getting referrals, maybe even some income from home warranties, right? There's a whole variety of different ways to generate income, but also understanding what our expenses are. And we're going to talk a little bit about gathering that information so that when it comes to creating the business plan, you do have some of those numbers under your belt and you can control what's happening for your budget in the upcoming year. So take a minute right now and maybe rate yourself from 1 to 5 on these questions. Real estate is a business and my role is an entrepreneur. So are you seeing yourself more as a business person or are you seeing yourself more as a salesperson, and how can you shift? And then understand as well that today's activities are going to impact all of my tomorrow activities, which is why we have to have that plan. And that's why we pointed out that lead generation is probably one of the most important aspects of your business building activities over the next few months. And if we don't have a plan, again, failing to plan is planning to fail. Okay, so we are going to start here today. What we're going to look at is collecting our sources of income. And we're also going to look at collecting our expenses. I'm going to share with you a spreadsheet that everyone can use. I can send you the link or I can send you the spreadsheet. And then that's going to help us to create the budget that we want to create based on what we're going to establish our goals to be. Okay. Does anybody currently track income and where their income is coming from? Nick, will you share a little bit about how you track it, what your spreadsheet kind of looks like?
Sure. So I track a couple different things. On one of my spreadsheets, I track all of my income and then all of my expenses kind of broken down into categories, administrative, marketing, marketing just for my listings. I'll put that in there for my photos, video, whatever I may be doing.
Yep.
And then training as far as, if I would go on any training, any kind of materials I might buy, things like that.
Right.
So I track it from an income and an expense perspective. And then I'll also track all of my closings so that I can stay right on top of what my average sales price. And then about 2 years ago, Al kind of challenged me to raise my average commission. So I think a couple years ago, I was at like 2.6 or something like that. And he challenged me to get closer to 2 3/4. And I've actually been able to take that up closer to 3%. As we talk, when you focus on listings, you kind of control that commission a little bit more than when you're a buyer's agent. And that's been really beneficial to raise that average commission percentage that I'm receiving. So.
Okay, that's awesome. So when we get to the goal portion, which is in October, maybe you can share a little bit more about what your process was in order to increase that commission. And I heard you say that it was largely increasing your listings because you can control, your portion of the commission, but we'd love to hear what your process was in order to get there. Does that make sense?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, great.
Can I add one thing on that?
Yeah.
So one way to control your buyer side, and it's tough in today's market with multiple offers on a lot of listings, but if you have a buyer agency contract signed and it says right in there what that you're to get paid 3%.
Yeah.
So when you show a property that's at 2.5, and you can ask the seller to pay part of the buyer's closing costs, and you could put your 0.5% as one of the expenses in that. You follow what I'm saying? So for example, houses on the market for 100,000 and 2.5% they're offering co-op commission, which would be 2,500. But your buyer's agency contract says you're supposed to get paid 3%, which would be 3,000. So the buyer asked the seller to pay 3,000 of their closing cost. Well, part of their closing cost is the $500 commission that would come to you as their buyer's agent.
And where would that be indicated?
It's not. It just shows up on the final closing statement. It shows up on the seller's closing statement at the end.
Where would you write that in at though?
You don't.
With the notice of buyer's agency?
When you're in your buyer agency contract you have with a buyer, it says you're going to get paid 3% for representing them.
Right.
So if the commission's only 2.5%, you don't write it in anywhere. You just ask the seller to pay part of the buyer's closing cost, and part of the cost is the $500.
Oh, I see. You don't have to spell it out anywhere, but you
No.
have to have that short form buyer agency form filled
Either
out.
buy a short form of the buyer or the long form, and it says what the commission's going to be.
Doesn't the title company need direction though?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
They
Yeah.
need written direction on where to.
Right. So when it comes to the closing, for example, in our office, you would tell Debbie to make sure that it's broken down out of the seller's contribution,
Mm,
buyer's cost, is that our commission is part of it, and they'll add that. So then I've had that happen to our office. I got turned into the state of Michigan 20 years ago on this, because the first time I ever saw it was probably 30 years ago. I saw a closing statement, and it said in there that my seller had to pay the other realtor, let's say $1,000 towards commission. And I says, they can't do that. And we refused to pay it at the closing. They turned it to the state, and the state contacted me and they said, yes, they can do that. And you owe them $1,000.
mm. Wow.
So I've probably seen it. If we keep our close eye on it, most of the time you guys don't keep a close eye on the other statement. I would say it happens once a month in our office.
Hmm.
Things. Maybe at least every other month. We do see it though.
Wow. Yeah, that's actually good to know. I never thought, for some reason I was thinking that the seller had to know that they would be paying us that, $500.
I just agreed to pay
The
3%,
closing costs.
6% of the buyer's closing costs, prepaids or escrows. Well, that's part of the closing costs. Buyer
Interesting.
is the commission.
Okay. Yeah. Who knew? I didn't know that.
Yeah, but you'd have to let the lender know almost immediately.
So
because
what
you're
you
gonna
would
be-
do is you got to let the buyer know. See, now you do realize that you signed a buyer agency contract with me for 3%. They're only paying 2.5%. So part of the cost of the seller's going to still pay that, but we're going to ask them to pay it this way.
Right.
Explain that to them when they sign the buyer agency contract. I would not spring that on them when you're writing a purchase agreement.
Right.
Mind them when you write the purchase agreement. Remember we had that conversation. I get paid 3%, and you got to show your value,
Yeah.
your buyer and your seller, to get paid the commission, right?
Right.
And if you're showing your value to your buyer, they're going to say, yeah, for sure. Make sure you get paid. Right?
Right.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Good. Very good. Good to know. And I think, Mick, you pretty much summed up what we have here. So these are the numbers that I want everybody to start collecting in order to get ready to create their business plan for 2021. Okay. So start looking at your personal expenses, because for most of us, at least a portion, if not all of our income, is going to go towards some personal expenses. And what I really would like you to do is collect them on a monthly basis and what they were on an annual basis. because all of us have been in business for a while, we should be able to look at the past and do that. I mean, certainly personally, but we're also going to do the same with our business expenses. So, and again, I'm going to share a spreadsheet with you so you guys can look at it real quick. But I really, really highly encourage you guys to break down exactly how Mick was talking about what your expenses are so that you can track them over time. And I'm sure you've all heard the expression of taking a portion of your profits in your business and reinvesting it back into your business, which is what I've been doing lately. So I've been kind of amping up my photography, for example. I choose to do that. And so based on the property, I will sometimes use a different photographer. It costs me more money, but to me, it's worth it in the marketing. And I'm getting a lot of feedback, and people are, you know, really enjoying it and really like the fact that I'm doing that for the sellers. So that's an
Let
example.
me ask you this question. Are you doing that at all your listings or just certain ones?
Just certain ones.
Yeah.
And it's even, and sometimes it's based on price and other times not. Like I'm getting ready to put that new 2,700 square foot ranch on Arbor, and it should be on the market this afternoon or tomorrow morning. And it's listed at 250, so it's not a huge dollar value necessarily, but the property warrants it because I think the photography, the wide angle lens, and the virtual tour is just really going to showcase it so much better. So it's really based on my judgment and also, of course, the needs and wants of my seller, right? Okay, so moving along, in addition to tracking your personal expenses monthly and annually, also track your savings. Do you have a desired savings goal? Did you meet that goal last year? And what is your savings for next year? And when I'm talking about savings, it could be just a savings account because there are other special financial goals that you can also set. So I really want you to start thinking about these too. What are some financial goals that you have for the upcoming year? For example, I want to go to Costa Rica in March and it's going to cost me $4,000, or I want to pay my kids' tuition for university, so I have to come up with an extra $8,000. So whatever that equates to, start thinking about that and identify up to 3 of those financial goals that you have. Does anybody have a financial goal off the top of their heads that they want to realize this coming year that they want to share? Marianne, are you still on with us?
I am.
Okay. Do you have any financial goals that you would like to achieve for the upcoming year in terms of something special that you have in mind?
Not right now.
No?
No.
Okay. What, anybody else? Janelle, Bill?
I can tell you that I always have all these things you've mentioned. I always do,
Okay.
including that.
Okay.
You know, so I think they're important.
Yeah.
Um,
One of the ones that I have ongoing every year is to deposit a certain dollar amount into my retirement account.
and then you never touch it again.
And then, well, hopefully I'll touch it when I retire. If I do retire, I'll be like Donna and never retire.
Eats nuts and seeds.
Yeah, you're not retiring.
Yeah, you're right. Probably won't ever retire.
Get comfy.
But it's good to have
You retired
stash.
into the real estate business.
It's too much fun to retire. But I do have a trip that I'd like to take. Who knows if that's going to happen next year with everything that's going on, but I do have a trip that I'd like to take. And actually my youngest daughter is attending university this year in Ontario. So I want to be able to help pay for her first year of education. So those are 3 of my goals without listing the numbers or the dollar values. Those are 3 of my goals. And now I'm going to think about what dollar value am I going to put on all of those. So for next month's session, I'd love everyone to have their personal expenses tracked and their business expenses tracked and 3 financial goals for the upcoming year. Okay, with a dollar amount on them, preferably. And you can include in there, like I said, like a savings account as well. The other thing that I want you guys to look at for next session is some of the stuff that Mick was talking about, your average sales price. So you can get together with Al or Jack and they can help you pull up some of the numbers in terms of what you made this year and determine what your average sales price has been, what your average commission percentage has been this past year, your split, of course, know what that is. And just take a review at your last year's statistics. How many sellers did you work with? How many buyers did you work with? And do you have a goal either way? Okay, so this is all of the stuff that I want you guys to track.
So I just want to add one more thing to that, and I've talked about this for a long time, is how many buyers do you have to work with? How many sellers do you have to work with? So to take that one step further, especially with buyers, how many A buyers do you have? How many B buyers do you have? How many C buyers do you have? An A buyer is somebody, number one, who's going to work with you and nobody else. Okay?
Yeah.
They're pre-approved. They don't have anything to sell in order to buy. Okay? They don't, when you get done showing them houses and they finally find one that they want, they get, well, I want my mom and dad to look at it. Well, you got to ask those questions up front. All right. So I tried to always have 5 A buyers I was working with at all time when I was really trying to sell real estate and meet my goals. And I wanted to have 5 Bs and 5 Cs. So I had 15 buyers that I was working with at all times. Now the C buyers might be people that could turn into an A buyer overnight. Things could change for them. They also could be people who you only talk to every, you keep in contact with them, make sure they're hopefully working with you, nobody else, but you got to keep, so you keep in contact with them for that reason, but you really don't think they're going to buy a house maybe this year. Okay. Yeah. A B buyer is more like somebody who has something to sell and they can't buy a house from you unless they sell it and the house is not on the market. So, that's kind of more of a B buyer, or a buyer who says, if I can find what I'm looking for, I would be willing to buy it, but it's got to be exactly what I want. And, it's under my terms, but they're working with you. And then the A buyer I kind of explained. So funny thing happened to me this weekend. I had a B buyer because he had a house to sell. And I kept telling him for the last 3 or 4 months, I kept showing him houses here and there. And he was in the 350 range. I said, you got to be able to buy without selling your house. You got to put it on the market. You're never going to stand a chance in this market. I know. So anyhow, on Saturday, he turned into an A buyer because his wife's standing there and she says, you know what? I got $30,000 in the bank and we qualify without selling our house and I'm willing to put my money up. And I didn't even know she had this $30,000. And he, okay. So, that buyer turned from a B to an A. So now they excite me.
Right.
I'm going to be a lot more in contact with them.
Right.
But, so I think you got to break your buyers down. And you got to try to have, 5 A buyers, 5 B buyers, and then your list of C buyers. And you can have D buyers, really. I give people Ds. I don't work with any Fs, I don't think. But,
Wow.
Ds, they're on your tickler list, kind of.
Right. Okay. Yeah, so you can break that down further. I mean, we can break this down really endlessly. All of this can be broken down endlessly. But I think it's important just to start with some of the basics first. Just start accumulating those things. And then what's really cool is next Tuesday, when we do the group coaching sessions, I'm going to do one at 10 in the morning. Nick's going to do one at 3:30 in the afternoon. We're going to be able to talk about this, right? So I had trouble, income, expenses. Am I missing something? I need a different spreadsheet. How's everybody else doing with their sales price? How is your average commission percentage per side, maybe as compared to other people? Where do you think you should be? We can brainstorm ideas to progress you forward. But this is the whole idea of this new training program is we have the training. The next session, we have an opportunity to coach everybody that's in the session that wants to be coached. And honestly, the smaller the session, the better, because we can share what we've got going on and really dive a little bit deeper into this stuff. And so I think that's going to be the advantage of this program. So for next month, for sure, have those numbers ready to go. And I'm going to share a spreadsheet with you guys as well, so that you can put it into that spreadsheet. And then what's also cool for next month, we're going to talk about creating goals and how we're going to reach those goals. And this is so fabulous. They have changed what used to be a spreadsheet into an active, self-paced training that you can actually enter numbers into and then download. And it's called the Goal Projector. So once you have gathered all of those numbers that I spoke to in the previous slide, then you're going to take all of those numbers and you're going to go to the Goal Projector, and it's going to spit out a bunch of numbers for you in terms of what your target is going to be in order for you to realize success in your income goals. And it is fabulous. It's brand new. They had it in a spreadsheet and now they've uploaded it. So it's a self-paced, just a couple of minutes of training. You will knock it out quickly because you will have already gathered your numbers, and then you can put all of your numbers right in there and download it and save it. And so where you're going to access it is right there. That's the path. So you're going to go to mycbdesk.com. You're going to go to CBU, which is Coldwell Banker University, and then into the Learning Library. And you can search for Goal Projector, and it's going to pop up for you. And it's really fabulous. I was so surprised to see it there myself. Normally it's just a spreadsheet. Okay, so does anybody have questions about that right now? No? Janelle, do you track any of your
I'm the worst. I don't track any of what I make, nothing. I have like a mental goal that I want to reach. And I just like to be busy. So as long as when I'm not busy, then I panic. As bad as it is, I'm a terrible one to ask.
So the idea of doing this obviously is to prevent the panic.
Right.
Maybe that's what I should call this training.
Yes.
Prevent the panic. Because that's the whole idea, right? Is to try to prevent that panicking that we all do, because the leads aren't coming in. We know we have a 90-day lead time and it's not happening. We're far enough away from our goal this year, and how are we going to get there, right? All that stuff. And so let me see if I can pull up my business planner. Let's see. Well, for whatever reason, it's not loading up. So what I am going to do is just share a quick snapshot of one that I have used in the past. And I can share this one with you, or you can use another one. And this is a blank one, so it's probably not going to help you in terms of calculating your own numbers, but your numbers are going to be different from mine. So can you see the spreadsheet?
Oh,
What's that?
No.
I don't see it.
You can't? All right, let me try it this way. Okay, you see it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let me move this out of the way. Okay. So I have in the past tracked all of these things on the left. So clients and money that income that I've actually made from open houses, working with buyers who have just come to me, whether it's through referral or mostly through referral or through phone calls, floor time phone calls. That's where I have categorized that. Sellers, whether or not I've made money through a transaction coordinator. Referral, so if I've made money through whether it's other agencies who have referred, through legacy, other agents that I've brought on board. Does anybody have any legacy people? Janelle, have you you were brought in under
Rachel.
Rachel, so you're her legacy, right?
Yeah. Well, I
Okay,
don't think so anymore. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think so anymore either. But at one point you
Right.
were, and that's really nice, obviously for her. And then I squeeze these in. These are actually not income, but I just track whatever refunds I've received from the previous year, just so that I know. And then over here, I've got expenses. So I've mixed in some personal as well as business. So you guys absolutely feel free to mix in your personal and your business. This top line, I actually can carry that over and just put as a total personal expenses. And so I track personal expenses on a different spreadsheet. And then I'll just bring that total number over so that I am combining it with my business expenses. And then, as you can see listed below, those are just some of the things that that I track for my personal business expenses. Okay. And then, in addition, I'm going to keep it simple for today. I'm just going to leave it at that. I just really want you guys to start filling this in so you have an idea of what your income and expenses are. And then also, of course, those other numbers that we talked about. Mick, is there anything that you can think of that I'm missing in terms of the spreadsheets?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think that, the main idea behind this exercise is really just getting to know your income and your expenses right now. And then you had kind of touched on doing that little extra work to find your average sales price and maybe some other important business financial drivers that are important to your business.
Yeah.
Individually, I guess. And, you can kind of make those ad hoc or however you would like to.
Right.
So,
Okay.
which is good.
Yeah, so in order to do like next month's activity, the goal projector properly, I really want everybody to collect those numbers that were on the list, okay? And next Tuesday in the brainstorming or in the coaching session rather, if you're having any challenges doing that, feel free to reach out, and then also feel free to reach out to Jack and Al to get your numbers clarified from last year so that you have an idea of where you're starting from, where you've been and where you want to go for the upcoming year for 2021. So that's basically it. We just wanted to get those numbers covered so that we can start putting them into our business plan.
Now, are they going to, oh, sorry. Is the
Yeah.
meeting going to be at 9 or 10?
Did I say 9?
I thought you said 9, then I thought you said 10. I just want to make sure.
Sorry, they're all going to be at 10 for me.
10. Okay.
10 o'clock Tuesday mornings, and then
I think what she said was the company, if there's a company meeting the third Tuesday of the month,
right,
9.
Okay.
And they're all going to be at 9 for me. There's only going to be one afternoon session, which is that second Tuesday where Mick will be hosting an additional coaching session. So if people can't make the morning session, they can attend.
At 9.
Right, at 9.
At 9. Then he'll be doing one at 3.
Yes.
Okay. So they're all at 9. Or you just said 10, I'm right? They're all at 9?
We'll be
Yes.
He's
posting the
confused.
schedule on the Facebook page.
Okay.
All right. Linda, correct me if I'm wrong. The office meeting you guys have is the only thing at 9, correct? Your mastermind and group coaching is both at 10, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
All right.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, you were
Product
skipping
demos are
out, you
going to
know.
be at 10 as well.
Okay. So the third Tuesday of the month is going to be the office meeting, and that's the only thing at 9.
Yep.
Okay.
And then we've got the additional 3:30 afternoon training. Again, not to muddy the waters, but
Yeah, we'll post the schedule. I did actually already post it on Facebook.
Oh,
It's going to
okay.
be the same schedule. Okay.
Okay.
So
All right.
the other thing that I want to plant with you guys before we go, we are actually not, like me, I am not going to be hosting a full-on business planning training session this year. And the reason for that is Coldwell Banker is going to be hosting it live. They're going to be doing live business planning trainings, and here are the dates. And what we really want everyone to do, and we're going to be planting the seed with everyone every week, is to sign up for one of those sessions. They're only 90 minutes. You guys will have a jump start because you will have had all of your income and expenses gathered, as well as your other numbers that we advised you, so that once you jump into this business planning, you're going to have already the mindset required, and you're going to be able to ask some really great questions. So they have posted these dates for all of the upcoming live business planning trainings, and they're all going to be on CB Desk through Coldwell Banker University, CBU. Okay. And we really, really want everybody signed up for one of these sessions before the end of the year, because I'm not going to be able to do them. All right.
We will still have in December a business planning day for the company.
Okay.
So we'll get that scheduled.
Hopefully we'll be able to gather.
Well, even if we have to do it this way,
Yeah. Okay.
we do something separate.
Okay. So all of this is going to culminate in that meeting, whatever that looks like. But this is going to give everybody an opportunity to take this course at their leisure, from their homes, and at a time and a date that works, because they have morning and afternoon sessions. So we're just going to keep posting those and encouraging everybody to get signed up. Okay.
One more thing in here about business planning is that even though you are spending the last 3 months getting next year's business plan together, you still have to look at your business plan at least once a quarter. And in my opinion, I can't think of the right word. Look at your business plan and make changes in it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Review it.
Right.
We're heading into the last quarter. I have probably looked at my business plan in the last 2 weeks 5 or 6 times. Last quarter.
Right.
Okay. And, setting goals, personal goals, company goals, checking out the competition. I did it again yesterday. So you have to continue looking at your business plan throughout the year and make changes to it.
Right.
Especially this year.
Yeah.
It's a year we've never been through before.
Right. Hopefully we never.
And I expect next year to be similar. I really do.
In terms of market activity, you mean, or?
As far as COVID, as far as, we don't know how people are going to be thinking next year compared to, we're going to be working our way through it.
Right.
So it's important to keep looking at your business plan.
Yep, for sure.
So.
Okay, very good. Thank you guys so much
All right,
for being here today, and we will see you next Tuesday for coaching.
All right. Bye now.
Okay, bye-bye.